There's a battle brewing in San Diego. A group of pickleball players staging a takeover at a local tennis club. They say in order to make a point. KUSI's Dan Plant was at the Peninsula Tennis Club in OB to see how this all went down.
Get off this court.
Freedom of speech.
Go. Get out of here. I don't play pickleball.
With all of the issues that divide us in today's world, there's a new one that you might have heard about. It's pickleball versus tennis. Sounds funny, but in San Diego, it's getting ugly.
You guys do know that you have to sign in and pay a fee, and it's for tennis only.
Yeah, we understand that. We met with the city. They said no one has a permit for this place.
This is the scene at the Peninsula tennis courts in Ocean Beach when a group of pickleball players essentially took over the tennis courts, claiming they have a right to play like anyone else.
Not only did we have a right to do it, but we really wanted to educate the public, and even the tennis players. They were bewildered when they found out their club did not have a valid existing permit to use the space. And all we're really asking for is a fair chance to compete for those permits.
The permits he's talking about are called special use permits, and yes, the city of San Diego has been lagging behind for years on renewals. After the takeover, however, the city issued a temporary permit to Peninsula, but on that day, no permit was in effect, and the takeover made its point.
This is a tough public discussion, but it's something that really needs to happen. This has been going on for the last 5 years. This city is behind virtually every other city. We have 0 permanent pickleball courts in the city of San Diego.
While this battle is actually with the city, the tennis community is clearly disturbed by the hostile takeover tactics. In this case, the cops were called to keep the peace. And previously, a letter written by the pickleball people said, if you give us Peninsula, we'll leave the rest of the tennis community alone.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like somebody from The Godfather, coming out. I can hear the music now, saying that kind of thing. And that's not even a veiled threat. That's a threat.
In fact, a lot of people felt a little threatened that day. A kids' tennis camp had to stop to deal with the takeover, and the tactics are leaving people with a bad taste about pickleball.
It's like me saying, okay, well, I can go to Torrey Pines right now, if they don't have a special use permit in place, if I found that loophole, and go start playing soccer on your greens or flag football or whatever. Would anybody do that?
Well, these guys might, since pickleball is growing so fast and no public courts are available. But keep in mind, tennis is also growing lately, and the numbers aren't even close.
Tennis, in terms of a national presence, is bigger than all the other racket sports combined, still, the number of people that play.
And if you think that these games are compatible, well, they're really not, starting with the noise.
I play both sports. When I'm playing pickleball, nothing bothers me because it's so noisy. When I'm playing tennis, yeah, it's not even a comparison, but how much louder pickleball is compared to tennis.
So the takeover happened, they left peacefully, and the club now has a temporary permit to operate. But that leaves one big question. Will the city step up to meet the demand for pickleball?
There's a really simple solution to this as well. Andy Fields, the director of Parks and Recreation, could simply call us and a couple of the tennis leaders into a room, sit down. If he's willing to be a fair arbiter, hear both sides, and I think we could all come to a conclusion, to a compromise, within a couple of hours.
Best case scenario is everybody follows the city process and goes through what everybody else did to build their facilities. It doesn't happen overnight, I know that.
So I finally got a response from the city's Parks and Recreation Department, and essentially what they say is that they are aggressively looking for places to put an actual pickleball facility. And actually this location might be one of them, not the tennis courts, but outside the tennis courts, where of course they have green space and they can build a separate facility. But this weekend, very interesting timing on this, there is a national juniors tournament happening right across the street at the Barnes Tennis Center. And when the junior tournaments and big tournaments like this come into town, they utilize all of these courts. So without all these courts and access to all these courts, big, huge tournaments like this wouldn't be able to come to San Diego. They would go somewhere else. So it's not a matter of whether the courts are empty sometimes and full sometimes. They are utilized to the best of their ability, and pickleball wants their own situation. The city of San Diego says they are looking into it. We'll continue to follow this. We're at the Peninsula Tennis Club where the takeover happened. Dan Plant, KUSI News.